What is up, YouTube? Welcome to our channel, hashtag criminally. Um, it
Hi
will be all three of
guys.
us, Lita, Garnett. Hey, Arctic.
Hello, guys.
Hi
How are you?
Garnett. Hi Alexi.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Had a busy day, but I'm ready to relax and talk.
Hey, Barbara. You guys, today on our channel, we're doing something a little bit different. We wanted to speak out about like a few wrongful conviction cases. As you all know, a wrongful conviction is when a person is convicted of a crime that they did not commit. DNA evidence has been key in exonerating wrongfully convicted persons. Um, I wrote down like 5 of the worst wrongfully conviction cases in the U.S. history. We won't be discussing these ones, but I wanted to, there's a lot. Like the Central Park 5, Suzanne Johnson, Henry and Leon McCollum, Duke University lacrosse team, and Kim Land. You guys, there's so many. There's so many. We just decided each to look through and just pick a couple to talk about. Lita brought up a good point earlier. Lita, yeah, Stephen Avery, that's a good one too. I forgot all about him. Hey, I will join you later if that's okay. I'm going to block that group that was betraying you guys. Okay, Barbara. I'm glad you got my message. They're talking about spinach.
Oh,
Spinach
God.
bread. All right, Lita, do you want to bring up the media stuff that you were speaking about? Because that you made that a good point earlier.
Go to bed.
Lita.
Going up and just came in. Go.
Lita left us.
Lita, go back out and then come back in. We can't hear you. Garnett, do you want to bring up the media? Did Garnett leave me too? Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay. So I'm left by myself. Okay, so the media has a lot to do with what we think for like wrongful convictions. They convict people without any evidence.
Now,
Hello.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I was right there when you guys said I wasn't there. But, what I was mentioning earlier was that it's not a new thing, wrongful convictions, and how much the media plays a part in it, even as far back as the Salem witch trials. Lizzie Borden, the Lindbergh baby that went missing. It isn't a new thing. It's just that we have a bigger media now, and
Yeah.
broadcasts everywhere. And even the O.J. Simpson trial was really, that's one that maybe they got it wrong. I'm just, but yeah, it's not a new thing, and it's probably not going to stop anytime soon.
No, but it definitely should be part of the media's priority to try to only put out facts and only after they know the facts.
And we know how it's affected, Terry
Kyron's case, yes, absolutely.
Right, that case has been really way out there, but
And from
it's
day
not
one,
the only one.
Rushed to put out facts that weren't really facts.
Right.
Barbara, I'll message you the group. I don't want to say it on our thing, so then everyone's gonna rush over there and
Yeah, we're not trying to be vindictive.
Never. Who,
But
us?
we, oh, us never. No, no. I just don't want people joining it, so I am kind of being petty. But no,
Right.
I'll let you know, and I appreciate it. But yeah, do you guys want to go ahead and start on your stories?
Well, I picked Azaria Chamberlain, the little girl in Australia. She was 3 months old, and she was taken by a dingo dog. She was born in June of 1980 and died 9 weeks old on August 17th, 1980. And her
Oh.
parents were Lindy and Michael Chamberlain. That summer in August, they took their family camping in the Northern Territory of Australia to Uluru. I think that's how it's pronounced. They'd been around the campfire, and at some point, Lindy went to the tent to check on Azaria, who was sleeping, or so she thought she was sleeping. And the next thing they knew, they were hearing her screaming that a dingo took her baby. Um, those are wild dogs in Australia, mostly on the northern part of Australia.
Mhm.
So they started a search. There were other campers, rangers, trackers, searchers, and even the police. None of them really doubted that Azari had been taken by a dingo. There wasn't any evidence of motive, no witnesses that even slightly incriminated the parents, and of course, there was no body. But despite all that, they still ended up taking the parents in and tried Lindy for the murder of her baby.
Oh
And
my gosh.
they also jailed her husband for a while, and he was convicted as an accessory after the fact and given a suspended sentence. And I believe they had other children at home that might have affected that him stay being out left out let out. Um, but she was given a life sentence, which she didn't deserve. And they had an inquest. The initial inquest was very critical of the police investigation. They found that um, the news broadcasts were really unfair. They
Yeah,
also broadcast that whole inquest live as it happened. That was the first time they had ever done that in Australia. So later there was more investigation and another inquest, and Lindy was then tried for the murder and convicted in 1982. That was
Oh.
also when her husband was convicted and given that suspended sentence. So people uh, were really being convicted in the media in the USA a lot for a long time, but I'm not sure if that was happening in Australia at the time.
if I remember correctly, a lot of the media focused on the fact that she had dressed the baby in black, and just a lot of
There
uh
was, yeah, there was so much nonsense, and they said that she was a Seventh Day Adventist, and it was said that she had belonged to a church that believed in sacrificing babies.
Oh
Some
my
people
god.
even, yeah, some people even said she was a witch.
right, right.
It,
And that all stemmed from the media and the way they portrayed her.
hmm
um and if I remember, well, from what I remember of that case, there wasn't a whole lot of evidence other than just public opinion.
hmm A good part of the public were also upset at the way the media did that because they sensationalized it and
Yes.
they biased. So they made several unsuccessful appeals to court, even to the high court. And they also there was another thing that happened that I was didn't realize. They were making jokes from things that Lindy had said, like the dingo took my and they also had included this whole dingo story about the baby that died in Australia, and they put that on cartoons like The Simpsons and
Oh my
Buffy the
God.
Vampire
Yes.
Slayer.
I've
And
never heard of that case either. That's so sad.
it's crazy, but it said that the baby's coat was finally found. The missing coat was finally found near an area where there were several dingo lairs. But this was only after a tourist from Britain fell to his death
Oh
in
my God.
1986 during a
What the
climb in that Uluru area. 8 days of searching before his body was found, as the terrain in that area was pretty tough to navigate. But just below the bluff where he died, there were a vast number of dingo lairs found, and the police were searching for bones, which might have come from him. And they
Wow.
inadvertently discovered Azaria's missing coat, her little missing baby coat.
Right, and she was so tiny. I mean, what'd you say? She was 9 weeks old?
She was, let's see, I wrote it down. She was, yeah, 9 weeks old, so she was very small.
So her bones weren't even fully hardened yet.
No,
Um,
I
a
don't
dingo
know.
easily.
The article didn't say if her bones were found. I imagine there were some found, but they were looking for the tourists' bones
Right, right. But
when
that's what I'm
when they
saying.
discovered the coat.
Even if they didn't find bones, with her being so young, her bones wouldn't have been fully developed. You know, they
Agreed.
wouldn't have been hard like ours. So, the dingoes possibly eating even the bone could have
Exactly.
been.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, after the coat was found, she was immediately released, and the
Oh
case was
wow.
then reopened in 1988. The court overturned all the convictions against Lindy and Michael, and 2 years after being exonerated, they were awarded $1.3 million dollars in compensation. But that was less than a third of what their legal fees amounted to. So they didn't really, they didn't really get enough to compensate for, well, who would, you never get enough to compensate for losing your child.
Right,
Yeah.
and for the time that you've spent away from your family, and there's still people, I'm sure, when the media
Mhm.
puts stuff out there like that, I'm sure there's still people that absolutely believe she did harm to her child.
Yeah. They did have a third inquest in 1995, and they still found the cause of death to be unknown. And then finally in 2012, 32 years after she died, at a fourth inquest, the coroner, it was a coroner from the Northern Territory named Elizabeth Morris. She finally ruled that a dingo was responsible for Azaria's death, and she at long last offered condolences to the parents and the siblings of
How
Azaria. And 32
32
years
years.
later, yeah.
Wow.
And she stated that day that a new death certificate had been registered with the correct cause of death. But took 32 years
Right.
before the family's version of events was even respected and supported by a coroner. Um, Also found in here just little things. At some point, a woman came forward at the age of 25 and tried to say she was Azaria,
Oh my
but
gosh.
none of her information matched what should have been if she was really Azaria. So
Oh.
and then another time, there was a hunter or something that claimed that he had shot a dingo with a baby in its mouth. I can't even believe he tried to pull this one off, but of course that was also a hoax. Turned out to be a hoax. Um, Also, Michael and Lindy did get divorced, like a lot of couples do when they are, face that kind of scrutiny. He died of leukemia in 2017 at age 72, but he had been a writer, a teacher, and a minister. And I don't remember the part about him being a writer and a teacher. I do remember that he had been a minister, but it wasn't talked a lot about their personal lives and what they were all about.
Right.
But he had, he didn't deserve to be falsely implicated, and that all the judgment that they both received. So their marriage failed, and he did remarry later. Lindy also remarried. And when Maddie McCann went missing, I guess she offered to speak with the parents of Maddie McCann, but I couldn't find anything to indicate that that ever happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I. There was also mention that um, in the film, the movie, the Rugrats movie, you might know it, Lexi, for your kids.
Yeah.
But in the Rugrats movie, I guess in the movie, a reporter in the cartoon questioned, "Is it true a dingo ate your baby?" Yeah, I
Oh
can't
my
even. I
God.
can't even believe they would put that in a kid's movie. Make jokes about that in a child's movie or in a cartoon. But
That
uh,
is so crazy.
I saw that movie and I missed that.
I don't remember it saying that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have seen like all of the movies. There's a
Mhm.
couple.
Yeah, I have too. But
Mm.
so it's just morbid humor. And I think we see enough of that already these days. But that's what I got on Azaria Chamberlain.
Wow, I've never heard of that story.
See what you miss when you're young, a lot younger than me. You too could have experienced that
Hey,
head on.
hey, I have a case that goes way, way back. I'm not saying you're from way, way back, but
Oh, thanks a
just
lot. Yes, I used to ride a dinosaur to school.
I'm just saying an older one that a lot of people probably, well, no, I don't know. Maybe they do.
What was it?
Well, it's not my turn yet.
Okay.
But you can go ahead.
Okay.
Darn it,
So
you crack me up.
if you insist, okay. Mine is on Julie Ray. She spent 7 years in prison. She was wrongfully convicted in the murder of her 10-year-old son, Joel. The real murderer was Tommy Linsells. He was a serial killer.
Oh,
Um, so on the morning of October 13th, 1997, 10-year-old Joel was murdered in his mother's home. They lived in a small Illinois town. Joel was stabbed 12 times as he was in bed. Um, the mom had visitation of her son that weekend, and she was awoke by screams. She rushed into her son's room and saw this happening. So she got a good look of the guy, a description and everything. She told the police what happened. Nobody believed her. So October 12th, 2000, a grand jury um, indicted Julie for the murder of her son. They sentenced her to 65 years in
oh,
prison. And in 2004, that's when Tommy Sellis confessed to the crime. Um, Julie, she was out on bond for some reason. I didn't even get that, but she got out on bond while he was on trial. Something really weird happened. But she was granted a certificate of innocence on November 29th, 2010, and was awarded only $87,000. But this woman, she was, y'all should look into their Darlie, who?
Rudier was. I thought she was convicted. Is she
Um,
the?
huh? I don't know
I
who that
will.
is.
I will look into that. I've heard that name.
I also have a question because nobody knows what I'm talking about. Like, let me bring this up before I go on with this story. Arctic, do you remember the story? Not the what's his name? How do you say the boy's last name? Duwan or Do not the story of the two parents that went camping with the grandfather and the grandfather's friend and the little boy went missing. But there
Oh,
was another story. Arctic said she is, but I don't think she's guilty. There was another story of a boy that went camping or his parents owned like a mobile home on a land or something, and there was like Boy Scouts and they were hiking. They went hiking in the woods. The parents thought that he was following somebody that was in their group, so they just let him walk by himself with these people. And then these people, like, I guess they turned around. He wasn't there. Um, ugh, I can't even remember the whole story, but they made it into a movie.
did you
Maybe
s-
Arctic knows. Huh?
did you say they turned around and he was gone, or that
Yeah, they turned.
they allowed him to walk off with another set of people?
Yeah, like there was like a set of groups, and they all knew each other or something. So the son wanted to go with this one group, and he was only like 3 years old. And
Gosh, I
so
can't believe that.
yeah, so he walks away with this group, and he gets lost. And the police, they wouldn't let any outside counties help. They wouldn't let the FBI help. They did not want anybody involved in this investigation. Like, they refused every single help that they could get. Like, people
Mhm.
wanted to, you know, use certain tools to go help. They wanted to do a lot of things, but they refused. But,
That's so sad.
and I can't remember the name of the child. Um, Girl, I have so many cases in my head. I need a hard drive upgrade. I just do. I really, but I discussed it with somebody and I can't remember who it was. But anyway, like everybody, Lynn, I mean Julie, she was on like the Discovery or ID channel or something. Or no, 2020. And everybody thought she was guilty and she kept saying like, no, I'm not guilty. She was a poor mother. Like, she was in school though. Um for some reason the dad had got custody like most of the time. And so everybody believed, like, they made her, that little town like wanted to kill her. Like, they were like, she's guilty, da da da. And you
Sounds like
know,
a lynch mob.
yeah, there was a knife that was used in the house,
Hmm.
but the guy, he went in there, um he just broke in there and used the knife, went into the son's room and you know murdered him. There was no physical evidence or anything, but they sentenced her. So it was a really sad case. She right now, like I heard, she can't find a job anywhere. The police went a little bit. Yeah, it was really, I'm gonna have to look into it and figure out what this case is because I've been telling Garnett and Lita about it for like 3 days now. And I've
It's
been Googling, I can't find it.
it sounds a little bit familiar to me, but
I,
I I could probably find it if I knew the state it happened in.
I don't even remember, and it was a little town as well. Like, this little town didn't want people coming into their town, making it
Hmm.
look bad, or I don't know.
When a
And
child is missing, that should be the last thing on their minds.
right, I just don't understand. I don't get it. Um, yeah, well, Garnett, you want to do yours? I have one more, but you can go ahead and.
I will do mine. This one's on Ashley and Albert DeBellbolt. I guess is how we would say that.
Hmm.
They had what seemed to be a healthy baby girl. Her name was Mackenzie,
That's my
and
daughter's name.
she was born May 29th, and she died around 4 a.m. on June 1st. Now, they had sent her home from the hospital as this healthy baby, and it turns out that when they rushed her to the hospital trying to save her life, her mom and dad did, and there was a bump on her forehead. And the hospital said that they had crushed her skull. And, they went to trial, and even their defense failed them in this case. Hold on a second. I lost my place in my notes.
They
The
must have had like
defense,
a public defense,
Well, their
public defender.
defense didn't push hard enough to prove that this was a birth defect. Um, and when they were released in 2021, after 12 years of being in jail, that happened in 2008, and they were in jail for 12 years.
Law
And
and Order actually made a story about that. Did you see that episode?
I did not.
Yeah.
It turns out that the parents were the defense, the defense uh, presented medical evidence that the baby died of a serious brain defect. The DA's office had actually suppressed brain scans that would have helped the defense in the very first trial that they got convicted on. So it was a complete shit show from the very beginning, with the defense not doing enough to try to fight the case and the DA's office hiding brain scans that would have proved them innocent. Once her new defense team took over and they were able to prove that there was this brain defect that allowed this bump, it was actually blood clots that were forming, and because her skull, as we just said, was soft, that formed this bump, which the hospital thought the parents had done. Her new defense team was able to prove all of that. But what really got me about this story was one of her defense lawyers, and it didn't say which one said this, but I just want to quote this here. Too often, we would rather believe that good people did a bad thing for no reason than to believe that bad things happen to good people for no reason. And I thought that was really that really sums up a whole lot. It's easier to
That
believe
does.
that somebody did something bad than to believe that bad things can just happen sometimes.
right?
Mm-hmm. That's so sad. And how much time did they do, or you
They
said that
they spent 12 years in jail
uh,
and got released in, I think, April of 2021.
Did they have other children, Garnett?
No, that was their first and only child,
Oh, that's sad.
right? And then, like I said, they spent the next 12 years in jail, for something that they didn't do.
Were they able to stay together as a couple?
As of the story that I read, yes, they were still together.
Oh, that
And the
kind
story that I had gotten most of my information was done on May 19th of 2021. So,
pretty
I
recent.
certainly hope that they've stayed together.
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds a little bit in certain ways about this other one I have, which it's a short story, but if you want, I can go ahead with it.
Sure.
Okay, this one is about um, a woman named Patricia Stallings. She was a mother whose son Ryan became ill at 3 months of age. Her and her husband David rushed him to the hospital, and doctors found ethylene glycol in his blood, which is the main ingredient in antifreeze. So
Mhm.
they believed that he'd been poisoned, so he was placed in protective custody, but he died a few weeks later. At that time, she was also pregnant with her second child. But since they believed she had poisoned her first child, they placed the second child into protective custody when it was born. He didn't have any contact with his mother, but he also had high levels of ethylene glycol in his blood. They found out that he had a rare genetic disorder that could explain the first child's death. It was
Mhm.
something called MMA. I'm not. I had the word down, but I couldn't pronounce it, so I just put MMA like
Right.
they did. Anyway, despite the fact that there was a rare genetic disorder, her lawyer didn't bring this up at trial. There also appeared to be some back and forth between the prosecutor and judge that just because there was this similarity didn't mean that Ryan had the same issue. So
Mhm.
she ended up going to prison and lost that part of her life and time with her second son because the judge and prosecutor couldn't be bothered from the sound of it. And apparently, the defense lawyer didn't have enough cojones to stand up and could defend his client. So she was convicted, but about a year later, the case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries. And a professor from St. Louis University saw the program and was somehow able to conduct tests on Ryan's blood.
This was the case on Law and Order. It
Is
wasn't
this the
yours,
one?
Garnet. Yeah,
Okay.
this is the one. I'm gonna send it to y'all later.
Okay, this was
Because
also
it
on
sounded a lot like Garnet's, but
okay.
this is yeah.
This was also on Unsolved Mysteries too. So,
Okay,
but
yeah.
anyway, when they tested it, conducted the tests, they confirmed the fact that Ryan had died of the MMA, the same genetic disorder that his brother had.
Mhm.
So that case is still cited as an extreme case of a metabolic disorder that mimics a criminal act. And that second son, uh, David P. Stallings, they called him DJ. He died when he was 23 in 2013. And his father, I don't know if he died of the same thing, but he died after a long illness in 2019. The mother won a settlement against the hospital and laboratory that had tested Ryan's blood.
When she went to the hospital, when they took the child to the hospital, they gave in the IV they gave the child something wrong, right? That made it um
Hmm.
yeah, that was on Law and Order.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah,
So,
there was something that they weren't supposed to give a child with that kind of disease or whatever. It just makes it worse.
yeah,
So,
I didn't see any reference to that, but it could have happened.
yeah.
You saw a movie about it, but after reading about this case, well, it also made me think of the case Garnett just mentioned. But
Mhm.
it made me think that, every case where someone's suspected of being poisoned with ethylene glycol, I would say it should be retested just to find out if they have the same rare genetic defect. That
Right?
to me that makes sense to me, but
Yeah.
they don't do that just automatically. They'd
Nope.
rather drag the parents in and, you know, I mean without a for sure certainty that he didn't have a genetic disorder, how can they even proceed when they know that's a possibility? When there's a test available?
Because they're just idiots and they just want to convict somebody. And
Oh,
Garnett just left us.
well, she probably left because my story was better than hers.
I did not leave. Hold on a minute. My phone shut off.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry,
You
Garnett. I
guys hear
shouldn't.
me?
I can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay.
I hear you now.
So, Lexi, are you doing your next story?
Sure.
Oh gosh, you guys
Mine
crack me
is
up.
on Riley Fox. She was born March 31st, 2001. Was She was 3 years old at the time of her murder. She, from Illinois. She was murdered on June 6, 2004. In this case, Riley's father was initially accused, and then cleared by DNA, um, by DNA evidence. Uh, Kevin Riley's father was initially charged based on a coerced confession. He spent 8 months in jail before being cleared. So in this case, a a guy broke into the Fox's home, and or he was robbing the neighborhood. He was just breaking into people's porches, like cutting the screens open. So this guy, he sees the Fox's house, and he couldn't, there was like no screen door. He went to the back door instead. He walks in, he goes through stuff, he couldn't find anything, and he sees Riley and her brother like sleeping on a couch, and he was fixated on the girl. So he went outside. Like, I don't know how this is crazy. He went outside, he parked his car in the driveway, and then he held his hand over her mouth and just walked out, threw her in his trunk, um, brought her to a nearby park, um, went into the men's bathroom and essayed her, and then he went and drowned her in a creek. He only lived 1 mile. He was out on 1 mile from them. He was out on parole. So Um, he ended up confessing to that crime, to murdering, um, Riley.
How old
But
was Riley again?
she was 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Riley's father, so it happened like, this is why everybody thought it was the father. Like, they didn't believe his story, even though that there was robberies happening right around that the same night. Um, so on June 6th, the night of, the disappearance, Kevin Fox had picked up his children from their grandmother's house around 1 a.m. Because the kids' beds didn't have clean sheets and blankets on them, he laid Riley on the couch and Riley's older brother, Tyler, on the living room chair. He went to his room, watched TV, and went to sleep around 2:30. The next morning, he was awakened by Tyler, who told him Riley was gone. After searching and checking with the neighbors, he called police. Um, Later that day, that's when they found Riley. She was bound and gagged, and oh my God. He was coerced into confessing. Like, he was in there. Do you know how long, Garnet? I didn't even see how long he was in there. He was in there for a long time, and they got him to confess. So then they had the DNA. Um, Police found an actual pair of mud covered shoes at the scene, with the name Ebby written inside of it. But they ignored the evidence. They just kept blaming the father. They ignored the evidence or the clues on the night she went missing. The houses were being burglarized. Anyway, the Fox family won 15.5 million jury verdict. Later, it was reduced to $8.5 million in a federal civil lawsuit. I don't know why that happened. But anyway, Scott Eby was later charged on 5 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of predatory predat- ugh, predatory sexual assault after DNA evidence linked him to Riley.
Were the
So, and then
five
he,
count were the 5 counts 5 different children, or were they all somehow
mm,
against him?
no,
Or I mean for her.
it was all linked to Riley.
Wow.
Wait, why would it be 5 counts of first degree?
I just was wondering how that worked.
No, I'm wondering too. Why?
Maybe it was different things that he did that I don't know.
Huh?
He deserves what ended up happening with him?
He ended up getting da, 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 let me see. Let me see in my notes.
I hope he wasn't released.
No, 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 no. Um,
That's horrible.
it really is. I
Poor
like
little
the
baby.
way. Um, where did it go? Okay, so at the time when the DNA linked him, he was serving 2 consecutive 7-year sentences. Ebby confessed that he cut the screen of a neighbor's home across the street and stole $40. That's when he confessed to all of that. Um, why doesn't it say how much time he got? Did I not? Hold on.
You know, I just I just pulled it up on my screen. Uh, I don't know what this has. I don't know if you saw this. This doesn't have anything to do with how much time he got, but it says here that he left a pair of mud-covered shoes where
Yeah, that's
he.
what I just said. You didn't hear me?
You did say that. Well, when I
Yeah.
looked it up, it said he signed them.
They ignored it. No, they ignored
How
it, and
could they just? Oh my
they even
God!
they even had his name on them.
Oh my gosh! Why did they?
Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong
Um.
with these guys?
So he got. Why isn't it saying anywhere how much time he got? That's really weird.
Oh, it says he was serving. Oh, now that's the
Yeah,
same
it's
thing it
saying how
said.
much.
Oh,
Oh,
this
he's
40.
serving his life sentence at Pontiac Correctional Center.
Hmm. So he's not going to get his death sentence. Nope.
Mm,
Nope. Sounds like they made their mind up.
no, and he was a registered sex offender. But this whole time, they were just like the dad, just because all the evidence was not looked at right, they just blamed the dad right away.
They always look at the dad, and I don't understand that.
Mhm.
I mean,
It's easier. It's the easiest suspect.
yeah.
Oh, he said he deserved to be tortured and killed. How the wires got crossed in me. He blamed drug and alcohol abuse and insecurities for his actions and wrote, I know I am the lowest of the lowest kind of slime there is on earth. Ebby tied a bed sheet around his neck and attempted to hang himself. He wrote in his letter that he had a reasonably normal childhood and his parents were both very good to him. My parents didn't raise a monster. I became one over the years, and it's no one's fault but my own. He added, keeping a secret like that inside of you eats at every core of your being day in and day out. So he wrote a confession letter why he was going to hang himself, but I guess he didn't really.
Succeed with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh. That's crazy.
When you think about all of these people that are probably just like him walking around on the streets.
That's
Right?
a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
What's more terrifying is that way too often these cases from the very beginning are formed with tunnel vision and the ease of just solving the case. They had muddy boots, but it was still easier to say the dad did it.
Yeah, or the mom, or the
Exactly.
stepmom, or the stepdad.
Right, right. Well, my case, and this is my last case. David and Cynthia Dwallaby woke up on September 10th of 1988 to find their daughter. Now, it was actually Cynthia's daughter, and David was the stepfather. They had gotten married, but it was Cynthia's daughter to another marriage. To find that Jacqueline was missing from her bedroom. The window had been broken, and 4 days later, 3 miles away, they found Jacqueline's body. She was just 7
Oh
when
my gosh.
um, they found her body in a field behind an apartment building. She'd been strangled. The Chicago Police Department felt pressure to solve the case, and they indicted David and Cynthia for the murder. They said the window that was broken from the inside, and that the scene was staged. There was also a witness that said he saw David from 230 feet away dump her body. And then he knew that it was him because of the shape of his nose.
From
From the
230
shape
feet
of his
away.
nose. Oh
From
my God.
230 feet away, and the police take this. Um, the trial judge, before before it even went clear through, acquitted Cynthia because before the jury even deliberated, due to no evidence against her. So before the jury ever got the case, the judge was like, "There's no evidence. Why is she here?" Yeah, he did find that David needed to stay and continue with the trial. The jury found David guilty and sentenced him to 45 years in prison.
But I thought there was no case
No case.
and no evidence. Didn't you just say that? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose her?
Yes.
Am I back?
You're
Yeah, you're
back.
back.
Okay. You said that I said Cynthia. There was no evidence
Against
against
her?
Cynthia. Yeah.
Okay, but there was
But
against him?
they said that because of that witness that seen him from 230 feet away and knew it was him because of his nose.
I'm sorry. I'm
That is
sorry.
ridiculous.
That's the
It
silliest
is
thing I've heard
ridiculous.
in a
I
while.
thought that was so ridiculous.
Well, I hope nobody sees my big nose from 500 feet away and says,
In
oh,
1991, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that there was insufficient evidence against David and overturned the conviction.
Did he get a nose job or something? Have his nose fixed?
they're like, oh, that's not the big nose man.
Right? A possible suspect in Jacqueline's murder was Timothy Guess, who was schizophrenic. He had initially had an alibi, but it fell apart. And Guess, when they questioned him, knew specific details about the case and said that the spirits told him what had happened.
Oh, wow.
Boy.
So
Poor
they got this
David.
guy who is mentally ill, whose alibi falls apart, and yet still we're going to focus on mom and dad. And her
Yeah,
case has never been solved.
I wonder if the spirit had a big nose.
Right?
right.
Some of those stories are just so far fetched, aren't they?
It is. And for the police not to really look at that. You know, the man's alibi fell apart. So he
Yeah.
lied to them, and he's got a history of mental health. Yet they didn't think that that was serious enough to really look at him.
Yeah, that's bullcrap.
I wish they felt as sorry for the little victims as they do for the poor mentally challenged schizophrenic killer.
Right? And look at Dad spent from 88 to 91 in jail.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely happens all the time, way too often.
It
You
does.
know, and a lot of times, like with Kylie Fox, you know, it's because the police brow bashed for a lack of.
Yeah. Yeah, they coerce them into confessions sometimes, and their lawyers aren't even present. But somehow they get
Yeah.
it.
It's because they're not guilty some of the time. So they're like, what do I need a lawyer for? And then they're just sitting there for hours and they're like, okay, is this going to be over with? Like, I mean,
I
I can't imagine being in an interrogation room for like days. Like, oh my God, I would have to get a lawyer at that point.
Well, at that point, I'd probably just say, "You're right, I did it. Can I go to bed now? I'm tired."
Right? Like, I'll see you at trial. No, I cannot. Oh, Garnett left us.
I'm back.
Barbara, we didn't forget about, we talked about, that's weird. You guys remember me telling you, this will be after, because I know you wanted to bring up the other case that kind of resembles, um, what Terry's going through with Kyron's case and all that. Remember the case I was telling you guys about, where the mom stuck her kids in the freezer?
Oh my gosh, no, I don't remember that.
You guys don't remember anything I tell you.
Maybe maybe that was when
But
he was in the hospital.
I told y'all like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about it, and I was like, "Did you guys hear about that girl?" I forgot. I think we even brought it up on YouTube, but Barbara ended up tagging me in it, and I think it was the same case that I was telling you guys about. But she wanted us to discuss it. Um, but you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But you could go ahead and do what was it? Dugard?
Oh, I
Yeah,
think I
JC Dugan. Just a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
can hear you.
All right. JC Dugard. I lost my notes. Hold on just a minute. Lexi, I've got family coming here. I need to go handle this.
Okay. Are you
So if
leaving us?
you want to go ahead and talk about yours or whatever, I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Barbara, I'm not sure if you were are you talking about the lady that she said that she murdered her, I forgot if it was one child or two child, because one of them was molesting the other child and then she stuck him in the freezer. I didn't really look at the video you tagged me in because I automatically thought, oh yeah, that's that case. And she went to court and she was like, yeah, I did kill him. Anyone that he molested my other child. Um, she was living in that apartment for like months or years or something with just her dead child in the freezer.
Wasn't his
And
flesh and blood? Was it
yeah, she said she did it because
because he molested his sister or brother?
yeah, it was a really weird case. The girl was a whack job. She went to court and she was, oh my gosh, she is so mentally ill. She is disgusting. She's like, yeah, I did it. Like, I don't regret it. Like, oh my God, she was really crazy. Um, I'm gonna have to look it up because I forgot the names. Barbara, what was her name again? Um, hold on, I'm looking it up. And I think that's the one that you tagged me in. I am not sure, but right when I saw it, but let me know if I'm wrong. Lady puts the child in freezer apartment. My Google searches are so freaking weird.
I'm just going to look up child in freezer. You wouldn't believe how many there are. It's just horrible.
Oh, it's right here. If this is the one, oh, it's two of her children. So, a 35-year-old Detroit woman identified as Michelle Blair, but it says Mitchell,
Right.
has reportedly confessed to killing two of her children years ago and stuffing their bodies inside a freezer. The bodies were found Tuesday when a bailiff attempted to serve an eviction notice. He saw a body in a standalone freezer, who officials believe was that of a 14-year-old girl, and called 911. Police later discovered another body in the freezer, believed to be that of an 11-year-old boy. A tip from a neighbor led police to Blair, who was found nearby and questioned. Blair confessed to killing the two of her children after allegedly discovering that they had molested a younger sibling. She reportedly killed her son in May 2012 and killed her daughter sometime around February 2013. Um,
Why
the
did she
bodies
kill
were
the three?
stored.
Why did she kill the 3-year-old? Am
No,
I
it was
look?
an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old.
I'm seeing. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong article.
Um, well, there was more children found unharmed. Um, so Blair, police say several neighbors and family friends say Blair had told him that she killed her children. Like, this case is so weird, but if you see her in court, like you can go on YouTube and find her court stuff. Um, it is definitely she's a freaking weirdo. She's insane. Um,
Um, this says, did they confuse? I don't know. Maybe they can accidentally combine two stories here on one article, but I'm seeing another mother in Detroit who had a 3-year-old in a freezer.
there's so many of them. It's
So it's,
disgusting.
I mean, it's just, I didn't realize there were that many though.
Yeah, and she doesn't have any remorse for it. Um, like she says that she would do it again. Like, hold on, Garnett's back.
I am back.
Um, so yeah, that's that case, and it's so weird how she just has no remorse, and I don't know. She's fucking weird. She's like, as horrendous as everyone thinks I am, that's fine. But I'm the only one not lying about anything. So, yeah,
That's just sad. Sadder than sad.
it really is.
Um, when I hear stories like that, I imagine what those last moments of life were like for those little kids.
I know.
It just makes me cry.
Ah, my phone's turning off, you guys. I'll be back.
Oh, all right.
Don't get
Well,
off or it won't save.
Okay.
are you there, Lita?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right. So I did find JC Dungard. I sort of just wanted to bring her up. She was kidnapped on June 10th of 1991. Um, she was walking to school and to a school bus stop in Myers, California. And her stepdad was the last person to see her.
Uh-huh.
She remained missing over 18 years until 2009. Now, that's from 1991 to 2009. She was held captive by Philip Garado. The way she was found wasn't when the parole board, the parole officers went to Garado's house and was monitoring him for like 7 years. No, that's not when they found her. They found her when they had went to a university campus to spread like religious pamphlets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, she even had a daughter to him.
She had two
So,
daughters.
2 daughters to him. And for 18 years, the stepfather was in the public's eye, guilty of getting rid of her. I mean, the media had her dead and buried. Um, you know, to find her 18 years later. And that's why, once again, the media needs to take more responsibility when putting out these facts.
They sure do. You know, the mother, Philip Garado's wife, that's who the children thought was their mother.
Right, right,
You know,
right.
they didn't even know their mom was their mom until after,
No,
you
they
know.
thought that she was a sibling, correct?
That's so messed up, yeah. And living out in a tent out back.
Yeah, while the parole board, the parole agents are there, for their monthly checks or whatever.
Well, they didn't check very hard.
Exactly. And the neighbors had reported that there were kids over there a couple times.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
How much did our entire system fail this girl?
Well, totally.
And wasn't there another girl or something with her other than her kids?
I think it was just her and her children.
Just
And
her and her
I
children?
mean, he took her when she was pretty young, didn't he?
Yes,
But she
yes.
still managed to teach her kids. She taught them school. You know,
Yes, yes.
I don't even think they went to public school or anything.
Nope. She was 11 years old when he took her.
And you know, for all that she went through, she's turned out so well.
Right, right.
That's what surprises me. You know, she just seems so well balanced considering all that she went through.
Well, I can't imagine what she had to go through there.
Yeah, I can't either.
So Lexi is hiding from us.
She has disappeared. She has left the building. She has left the building.
Right? And we can't finish this until she comes back.
Right. What was she going to report on something else? Another
Well,
story, I
no,
think.
if we close the thing, it won't um save.
Oh, well, we better not do that.
Right?
I notice a lot of people have joined us. Maybe not a lot, but I see Callie
I
and
can't really see the comments because I can't find, and I don't want to skip out. So I'm just gonna stay where I'm at
okay. Well,
because
Barbara
I
asked if
don't know
she could
whether.
come up.
Okay,
I think she wanted to say something, but I don't know how to bring her up.
and I don't
I think
either. I don't know how to bring up the.
that
Like
was
I said,
on.
I can't even find my StreamYard. So
No, it's not easy. I'm dealing with an iPhone that needs to be replaced,
right,
so I'm afraid to do anything, move the wrong way. Oh gosh, if I look at it cross-eyed, it boots me off.
right. We're just gonna hope that Lexi comes soon.
That's right. I'm gonna say, Lexi, where are you? Where have you gone? Okay, wait.
You
Oops.
know, there's Steven Stainer too.
Oh my gosh, that one.
Uh,
That
his
tragedy.
yeah, yeah. They blamed his father for him missing, and he was missing for what, 7 years?
Yes. Yep. That
And
was
that completely destroyed their entire family, not just
probably.
Stevens.
It probably had something to do with what happened to his brother too.
Oh, it definitely did.
How do you
You're
go through
convinced.
something like that and not have it affect you?
Right, right. And, I seen an interview not long ago with his mother, and she absolutely takes the blame for. I don't know that she's as responsible as what she makes herself. It was really sad, you know. She said that, they focused solely on Stephen when he come back, and that, she sort of felt that that was why his older brother had turned out the way he did.
Yeah. Well, now when he committed his crime, wasn't it with a teacher and two students traveling through California, like the Redwoods or something?
Yes, yes. They were in the Yellowstone National Park, I believe.
Yellowstone's up in Wyoming, I think.
Okay. Which one's there then?
There's so many, but
Yeah.
but I know that he killed those three women, the two younger ones, and then the adult.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if he got the death penalty or if he's in prison for life or.
Ugh.
Okay, Lexi just says, it says, you guys, my son woke up. I can't talk. So
Okay. So are we just gonna end the show?
Lexi needs to, doesn't she need to just at least get on and, so she can say
Why
it?
don't you ask her?
Well,
And then
she's talking in the comments.
oh, okay.
Let me let me see if I can. Oh, is she saying no? Don't end it. Okay. I am gonna have to leave soon though because I need to feed Kirk. He just woke up
Right.
from his nap, his beauty nap. But let's see. I don't know if she's going to come back. She might come back. I don't know.
Cherry Stainer, he got the death penalty.
Did they?
Got in 2002.
He did. He did die.
Well, no, he. Hold on a second.
Did they change it to live?
I'm looking it up. I believe he's just got life without parole. He's on the death roll at death thing, and it was Yosemite National Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at a picture of him. You know, I always thought he was such a good-looking guy, but it
Right? He's
says
kind of scary looking.
he's 61 years old now.
Right? Is that not crazy?
It is crazy because it seems like it just happened, but he had 4 victims apparently.
Right.
I think the 3 that I was thinking of were separate then. 2 women and 2 teenagers. 42-year-old Carol Sund, her daughter, 15-year-old Julie, Julie's friend, 16-year-old Argentine from, she was an exchange student.
And
Uh,
then Yosemite and
Sylvina Peloso. Oh, excuse me, and a Yosemite employee, a 26-year-old naturalist. Yeah. Oh, there he is at 61. So he doesn't look so cute at 61.
right.
Life hasn't been kind to him either. But he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. I don't think he's insane. I think that is a convenient excuse for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because and it sort of works because our rational minds say, well, you'd have to be crazy to kill somebody.
Right. If anybody is listening to us, would you message Lexi and tell her to come on so we don't lose the chat? She just needs to save it. She said, Garnet, you can't see the chat, right?
No.
It says, she says, I love y'all. And thank you everyone for watching. My phone died and then my son woke up. But please give the video a like and a share.
Okay, then we're just gonna go ahead and end it. I don't know whether it'll save it or not, but
Okay.
you know.
She's on here just muted. Okay. Okay, Lexi, I'm going to let you go because I need to feed this guy. But thanks everybody for listening tonight.
Absolutely, we appreciate it. Remember to like and share,
Right,
and we will talk to you guys soon.
right. Well, good night, Garnett. I love you.
Love ya.
Love you too, Lexi. Bye bye.